Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Final Whistle here on the Bama Standard Network. If you're on Facebook, tap in. If you're on X, Twitter, tap in. If you're on Instagram, YouTube, hit that like, subscribe button. We're here with your favorite cast and crew. Might get a little rowdy, a little controversial, but that's what we do here on the Final Whistle. And let me go around the horn and introduce the cast. Mr. Dan James, how are you, sir? You doing okay today? Dan's doing great.
Never know.
It was all good up until we hit play.
It was all good.
And then we hit play.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, our legal analyst, all around the table sports himself, Blazes Hayes' distant cousin, the one and only Ty Hayes. How are you, sir?
Man, it's that weird part of the year where I got to start getting into college basketball, which I always enjoy. I always do enjoy it at this point in February, diving into college basketball. But I'm in that like post-football depression right now, so I've been better. But I listen. If you're a little sad, we're gonna talk about something that might be able to help you and your loved ones here in a little bit.
And speaking of loved ones, this is my brother from another mother. The guy who took me under his wings at Galette's one Saturday night. The one, the legend, another legend in his right. Double agent himself, Mr. Daniel Pettey. How are you?
In the house. What is up, gentlemen? I'm one of those weird breeds that I actually love this time of year because the niche college baseball, I'm in that niche and I watch it like mad. No, I get it. I'm like, it's a small segment of people, but I'm one of them. So college baseball's kicked in, basketball's catching fire. But I am with you, Ty. Nothing gives you that. Nothing gives like college football season. So it is a little down, but man, can never be down when I'm here with my Avengers. So glad to be here with my fellas. And of course, my boy, Matt, who that one night, we won't talk about what happened after I took him under my wing, what we ended up under, but goes with.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Dan's in the house.
With the 10-minute delay, the one and only Dan. How are you?
Yeah, I just unhooked everything, man. We're doing great, y'all. How's everyone on this Tuesday night?
All right, good.
Better now that we can hear you.
Yeah, we're glad to hear you. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. He does it all, defense, research. He brings the energy, the passion of the show. My main man, good friend, Luscion Graves. How are you, sir?
What's going on, Bama Nation? I'm here with the Avengers, ready to get it in. We got a lot to talk about tonight. It's going to be an exciting show. We got some electric. My brother Chris to the left of me is going to be up. He's ready to go. We're back full. Let's go, baby. Roll daggum time.
Roll daggum time. And if you're in the chat, get in the comment section, tell everybody about this crazy show that we have called The Final Whistle. And speaking of crazy, you can't have crazy without the one and only Chris James.
You see
number 32.
In and out.
In and out.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on, Chris?
It's Tuesday night, baby.
Let's go. Well, listen, we're going to get it started. And if you want to get it started, we just had Valentine's weekend and, it's pretty hard out there for some guys. But if you want your landscaping to be pretty hard with some hard rocks out there, go to Lambstone Company. Pettey, tell us more about Lambstone Inc, sir.
That's right, man. There's no doubt you've driven around and seen those beautiful homes with that natural stone all around them and said, I want that on my house. Well, if you happen to be building your dream house today, well, don't miss out. Now's the time. Go to Lambstone, realrockstone.com. They're located in Aniana, Alabama, one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state, and get that stone for your dream home today. Tell them we sent you using the promo code the Bama Standard and get 10% off your stone purchase today. Look, that's 10% off the purchase of stone for your house. That's a damn good deal. So go support the people that support us here at the Bama Standard. And like they say, nothing goes harder than that beautiful natural stone on your home.
Nothing goes harder. Oh man, sorry about that. So, guys, we just finished football season. Had the Super Bowl last week, but a bit of breaking news kind of hit the airwaves yesterday. Ty, guys, Pettey, Dan. Let me start with Ty on this. They're talking about expansion of the college football playoff in 2026, and it looks like the two big guys with the biggest pool, Greg Sankey in the SEC and the Big Ten. For all the people out there who don't know what could happen is, Ty, could you kind of expound on this real quick before we get into the rest of the topics, just to kind of fill the cast in on what could be happening as far as the NIL? I heard smoke about possibly the committees, all the conferences, having their own, breaking away from the NCAA. Just talk about expansion and what do you see in the future college football playoff with the Big Ten and the SEC really being the two biggest players in the college football playoff.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie to you. I really don't know what happened yesterday. I didn't even know there really was breaking news yesterday, but
yeah.
I can speak to the other part because if you've watched my show, Keenafy, you've certainly watched my show enough that over the past year and a half, 2 years, I have been screaming from the rooftop that the NCAA, based on their inaction, their unwillingness to do anything, they're on borrowed time. So if you've been tuning in, especially to me, you know that this is something that I've talked about for years now, really going on 3 years. We've talked about this, and it's no surprise to me that you have the SEC and the Big Ten looking to do something. Listen, right now the SEC and the Big Ten are doing something that the NCAA has refused to do, and that's act. They're not going to be left by the wayside due to the NCAA's incompetence. I'm not going to go through the whole song and dance. I've said it so many times on this show, on my show, on anywhere that will give me a microphone, about how the NCAA has damaged college football, dare I say, beyond repair. It depends how you look at it. I'll always love the game. I think everybody here will. But if you're a traditionalist, you might say beyond repair, and I wouldn't argue with you too much. So the SEC and the Big Ten are trying to position themselves so that no matter what happens with the NCAA, if they're not able to get things fixed, they are going to be just fine. Now, what does this mean for the ACC and the Big 12? They better play along. And not simply because I'm saying, hey, you need to bow to whatever the SEC and the Big 10 does. That's not why I say this at all. So if you're a Big 12, if you're an ACC guy and you're like, oh, well, we don't need to do what the SEC and the Big 10 do, you kind of do. Not because they're the two best conferences, they are. Not because they have the most money. They do. Both of those things are true, but it's for neither of those reasons. It's for the simple fact that, are you really going to bet on the NCAA doing something correct? Right now, they are trying to scramble to figure out how they can do anything. That's why they had Saban on Capitol Hill lobbying Congress to act, because they can't trust the judicial system because they waited too long. They have to try and lobby to Congress. I don't know about y'all, but I don't have a ton of faith that they're going to be able to get Congress to do a whole lot. That's just my opinion on this. So I can't really speak to what happened yesterday, but looking at this from a grand perspective, if you've been listening to this show, if you've been listening to anywhere I've been over the past 3 years, and listen, we've talked about it here so many times, this isn't a surprise to you. We've said this. I've done this rant once every month. I feel like Charlie in the mailroom trying to find Pepe Sylvia, right? One of these days I'm going to come in here with the board behind me and plot it all out. But yeah, that's about all I have. I don't want to take up too much more time.
No, you're fine. Basically, they were saying that SEC and Big Ten are in talks of expanding to 14 and 16 teams and adding a ninth. The SEC only play 8 conference games. It'll be expanding the non-conference game. Anybody y'all want to add about
Yeah,
this? Pettey,
but they also mentioned one of the things, and I'm glad Ty didn't touch on it because he's usually so good and rounded on this that he kind of just hammers it all. But one thing he didn't mention that I do want to add is they also kind of dangled the idea of having, you were talking about the big sticks, that the SEC and Big Ten having 4 permanents if this were to be, always getting 4 slots no matter. And I don't like that. I don't
either.
Quit the automatic bid shit. That's one of the things, like, I get swinging, and that's what the SEC was mad because we had teams that were better than teams that were in it with worse records. Ole Miss, Alabama, South Carolina all could have made more noise than teams that are in that tournament, but they didn't because of record, yada, yada. So the SEC is trying to, in Sankey, he's trying to wave his stick and say, give us 4. That's fine, because I think the SEC more times than not are going to get there for if you take the top 16, if that's what they expand it to. But my problem with that is there's a lot of times the Big Ten won't get 4. And, if the SEC, we get 10 years down the road and it's not what it is, and we're top heavy and only have 2 teams, we don't deserve 4. It needs to be the top 16. Doing it, automatic bids is what leads to shit like Boise State getting a bye. And that crap's got to go if you want a real tournament to get real results. Now, look, the best, I believe the best team in the country ended up winning it this year. So everybody can say, well, it worked out, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but quit the dog and pony horse shit and the participation trophy stuff with the Boise States, the Indianas, the Clemsons, the SMUs of the world. If you don't belong, you don't freaking belong. It's top 16, top 16. Don't give me the 4 automatic bid crap. I don't want that.
See, I agree with you. And 90% of what you're saying, Pettey, but here's where I think you and I differ. I'm not saying that if Bama and Indiana played that I'd be taking Indiana to win. But nobody had OU beating Bama. Nobody had Vandy beating Bama. Nobody had Michigan's 4th stringers beating Bama. And that's exactly what we got. And so the whole reason why whenever people, and I had Bama fans mad at me for this. They're like, oh, you're saying SMU should be in over Bama? Yeah, because it's not SMU's fault they're not in the SEC. They went out and handled business. Bama didn't. Bama knew going to Norman, this is a do-or-die game, and they didn't get off the bus. I'm sorry about you, right? Like, I didn't want to expand past 4 because of this very reason. The regular season in college football was the biggest thing in sports. You lose 2 games, you're done. Now it's like, oh, well, the SEC could get 4 teams and the Big Ten could get but this is where I do 100% agree with you, Pettey, is the automatic bids. I hate that. Top teams, right? Regular season has to matter because that's what's always differentiated college football from the NFL. And the one thing that's always blown my mind is we're trying to make college football like a product that we don't like as much, the NFL. Yeah. And I just don't get that. I don't get why the powers that – I do get that money, right? I just don't understand the powers that be, right, not recognizing what differentiates college football.
Well, and I love your point about, like, watering down the regular season. If you give automatic bids, that's what it does, because what you do at certain times isn't going to matter. The Ole Miss-Florida game, the Alabama-Oklahoma game didn't matter as much if there's 4 automatic bids because both Ole Miss or Bama 1 know that they're getting in at that point. But if it's just top 16 and you're sitting there 14, 15, 16, those last couple of weeks mean some shit. You're starting
100%.
Getting playoff games with 3 games to go. The playoff season actually starts, 1st of November. But I'm with you. And I was on the side. Look, you can't blame the Indianas, the SMUs for the schedule or the conference, but that's where the SEC probably should have, and that's a whole nother
that's a whole other can of worms.
SEC probably shouldn't have agreed to what we agreed to when we got in this deal, but that's a whole nother story. But no, Matt, you're right. Big changes are coming more because the SEC got pissed off this year. Yeah, that's the bottom line. When the power and the money gets mad, the changes come.
Yeah. All right, I say bring back the BCS, but who am I? Luscion, Dan, Chris, anything I want to add regarding the expansion or?
Yeah. I don't agree with expansion. I figured 12 was enough. Definitely enough. If 4 wasn't, 12 definitely was. So I mean, if you're gonna expand it, you definitely have to eliminate conference championship games. SEC should just go to easier non-conference schedule.
I agree.
You know, so I mean, it has its pros and cons, but I would stand on the hill that 12 teams is definitely enough.
Luscion?
No comment.
Classic Luscion fashion. Chris?
I don't have the energy, and this channel doesn't have the censorship for me to deliver that thunderous message. So
I love it. Well, speaking of, we want to get your comments. So, guys, let's go to our first topic. Let's talk. We're going to talk recruiting with there he is. Oh, he's on the phone with getting updates from recruits right now. Guys, let's talk about top 26 recruits that Alabama needs to land, and why not start with our lead recruiting analyst, Dan James.
Yeah, you know, if you say need, you know, it's simple. You know, you want to start in state. You know, we got some key guys. You know, you want to start with guys like Cedarian Morgan, Anthony Tank Jones, Emmanuel Ruffin, Jamarion Johnson, you know, guys like that. You definitely want to hit in state a little bit better this year, but definitely I think this year is the year that we need to really hit on the defensive line. You know, we got guys like Nolan Wilson, Jarrell McCoy, you know, Jamarion Matthews, you know, Emmanuel Ruffin, you know, guys like that. We definitely need to get the beef up front. You know, if we want to remain competitive and being able to compete in the SEC.
Dan, I saw former commit Cleveland out of Parker. He didn't even have Bama in his top 6. Any reason behind that? Is it NIL? Just
definitely, I was just me speculating. I would say it's NIL. You know, you look at the teams that are involved. You know, those are the teams that been known to spend NIL. Georgia's kind of similar to Alabama. They have a number that they're just not gonna go past. You know, and they're fine with it. You know, the difference is, you know, is much more talent, you know, per capita in the state of Georgia than it is in Alabama. Mm-hmm. So that's where the issue lies. But you know, it's just a situation where, you know, Alabama had them, but, you know, other teams, you know, that's what happens. You know, they're going to come after guys with the Bama offers, the guys that committed to Bama, you know, and that's what teams are doing. You know, teams still, you know, fear and respect Alabama.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's something I want to touch on. I wanted to talk about on the text. I'm like, if only these kids knew that when the closer you get to commit to Alabama, you should notice that you get a big uptick in teams trying to recruit you harder. Obviously, that's a big sign that Alabama's probably the place you want to go. But obviously, that's a sign that, you know, they don't want you to go to Alabama. You know, Alabama prioritize you. So, interesting take. Let's see. Chris, can you talk about Jordan Edmonds, the defensive back who's said he was possibly going to commit out of Sprayberry, Georgia, but moved his commitment? What do you like about this kid? I think he did great at the All-Star. I mean, the Rivals in Atlanta preview. I think he was like one of the top performers there. Can you just talk about Jordan Edmonds and, you know, what do you like about him when you see him in this class?
Yeah, I could definitely see him in this class. He's a taller corner. What stands out to me about him is his competitiveness. He's a dog, man. Like, you want guys that don't shy away from competition at the corner spots. But he's long. He's a long kid, man. Like 6'1", 6'2". How tall is he, Dan? 6'1", 6'2". But and the kid, man, he has everything you look for as far as, you know, like just the size, speed, athletic ability. But in today's age, man, of teams trying to the back shoulder fade, that one-on-one jump ball, that slant, these routes you have to have size to kind of, you know, you have to kind of be able to compete with, man, because these receivers, man, These kids are coming out of high school 6'3", 6'4",
Yeah.
200 pounds, man. So you need, and I know Louis is too. I'm an advocate for big defensive backs. Like it's just big defensive back that can run. I'm an advocate because I've just seen the days where you have those smaller DBs who get dunked on. They'll be in position, but they'll get dunked on, and that's the complete opposite of what Edmonds is. So, man, we lock Edmonds in compared to Arrington and guys like that, man. Oh, man, this defensive back room for the next 2 to 3 years is just going to be outrageous.
I love that. Luscion, anybody in this 26 class that you really want Alabama to prioritize? I know you're big on defensive linemen. Just anybody, maybe I know you mentioned Crowell, I believe, last week, the running back out of Jackson, Alabama, who reclassified. Is there anybody else you kind of want to see Alabama really prioritize as a need in this 26 class?
Yeah, I would say like Dan was getting at, the defensive line, but I would say more so the outer defensive line, specifically the bandit position, because we're gonna need some depth at that in these next couple of years, because we're gonna have players either hitting the portal because they're not getting playing time, or they're gonna go to the NFL because they're just that big of studs. I mean, there's some guys that me and Dan have talked about, like I would say Kamir Johnson, like he said, and then there's this guy named Emmanuel Ruffin. These guys are very solid. It's just going to be interesting to see what they do their senior year and what Alabama truly wants to put in that specific position, because the pass rush in Kane Womack's defense has to get better. They have to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see how hard they hit that, and if they make that an attribute that they need to go after in this class.
Pettey, I know you're all things, everything regarding state of Mississippi, Ole Miss, double agent. But
double agent.
What are you hearing about the big time receivers?
That's
out of
the one.
What is it, Wilkes?
Tristan Keys is the big
Tristan
name.
Keys, yeah.
He's the number one. He's top 10 overall in the country and easily the number one player in the state. And I was 1 for 1 last year with AK with our Mississippi kids. I thought Cunningham was a lot to go out of state and stick with Alabama. I never dreamed of him coming back to Ole Miss. But Keys is even a bigger prospect out of Hattiesburg. And the word out of Mississippi is he does look, and you hear this a lot with these SIP kids. He does not want to stay in the SIP, which if you've been there, you don't blame him. But I'm hearing Alabama's name with Tristan. I'm hearing Tennessee's name with Tristan. But that would be one. If I'm Alabama, man, he's a kid that's wanting to hop out. I'd go after him. The kid's the real damn deal. Like I said, Bama's had a lot of success in the SIP, and he's one that's you can go snag. But y'all were talking about earlier, like I wanted to kind of touch on an overall arching thing that I've heard now mentioned from Tyler Siskey and AJ McCarron, and you can harp on this too, Matt. One thing that Bama, like DeBoer and them, need to be reminded when you sell to these kids, like Alabama, when you go to Alabama, Alabama's got your back for life. A lot of these schools you go to, once you're gone, whatever. When you go to Alabama and you've got that A on your chest for life, man, doors open. People help you out. Like, so, that's one thing you got to remind these kids that you can go to Auburn and with hand job and they ain't gonna care. Your pro-opted prayer circles where everybody thinks you're all holier than thou and good or whatever, when we know you're full of crap, and then they won't care about you when you leave. Ask Cam and them, or you can, go to Alabama where they take care of you for life.
Yeah, you can get a Farmers Only subscription.
Yeah, I mean,
that's about it.
It's about you leave with Farmers Only and some redhead girl, ginger devil.
I'm gonna round us out on this. I think I mentioned it last week. I know we only have 3 QBs on the roster. I wouldn't mind getting one in this class. I don't know if we go after 2, but I'm high on that Jared Curtis quarterback out of Tennessee. I think with Ryan Grubb coming to Alabama, I think he can potentially
What about the kid from Alabama? Why is Alabama not? I mean, Ole Miss is. You were asking me about him, and I knew
Landon Duckworth.
Yes.
Like, well, Ole Miss I knew was after the kid out of California, like the Ryder Lyons kid, but I think it's more looking like USC is going to snag him. But
he's actually going to go on a mission after.
He is. Ole Miss signed like a 4-star receiver from that school. I think, enticement, all that kind of crap. But they've had Duckworth on campus a few times, and there's a lot of smoke with Duckworth and Ole Miss. And again, that's what I'm asking you guys. That don't make sense to me. What am I missing here? Why is Bama not going after this kid?
Dan?
Well, they've always, this staff has always been very picky. You don't see a whole lot of quarterback offers. They pinpoint, 3 or 4 guys, and they usually get one. So, they don't just cast a wide net when it comes to quarterbacks. They like who they like. They see guys throw, and they got a good track record for hitting on at the quarterback position.
Yeah, but we've also watched Philip Rivers walk out of this state because nobody in the state would give him a chance. I'm saying that.
Ty, you're out in Texas. Can you talk about? I know we got Keelan Russell, Duncanville. I see we're getting a little bit momentum possibly with KJ Ford, a big-time edge rusher out of Duncanville. Can you talk about him or any other prospect you think that Alabama kind of needs to prioritize? And can you talk about, I know Tayshard Choice, the running backs coach from University of Texas, went to the Detroit Lions. Does that kind of open up some leeway with some running backs in the state of Texas? Possibly. I saw Xavier Crowell say he's not taking an official visit to Texas, or not visiting this past weekend with the absence of Tayshard Choice. Does that kind of open up, and then maybe some prospects we'll need to keep an eye on in Texas?
Yeah, in terms of, I'll start with the Longhorns and losing their running back coach. This is one thing I will say. Sark has done a really good job at replacing guys when they leave. Let me put it like this. They lose Bo Davis. They lose all those draft picks. They hire a little-known defensive line guy. Their interior defensive line this year, it wasn't last year's interior defensive line, but they were way better than I think anybody expected them to be, right? So I'm of the mindset that, like, I'm not going to write them off until I see what direction they're going to go in. But it is reassuring to hear that you have a guy like Crowell who's like, hey, I'm not going to take that visit. Bama, capitalize. Absolutely capitalize. In terms of Texas talent in general, I mean, guys, Texas talent is unreal, right? I mean, if I'm looking at the top 300 players in the nation, there's probably 38 from the state of Texas. So, like, you have a disproportionate amount of talent here, especially near where I'm at, right? I'm looking right now. I see Prosper right down the road from me. Salina right down the road from me. Alito right down the road from me. Forney right down the road. Duncanville right down the road. It's just unbelievable. DeSoto, Richardson, right here. It's just insane. Lone Star Frisco, right here. North Crowley, right here. Texas is always loaded. It's just a little bit wild. In terms of guys nationally, though, who I think Alabama need to go off after. So Tank Jones has been talked about. Couldn't agree more. Really want Alabama to land him. 2 reasons. One, you keep him out of the grasps of Ohio State, or I'm sorry, not Ohio State, Auburn. And 2, you get him to Alabama. But also, I really like Zion Ely out of St. Francis. Bama has had a lot of success out of St. Francis when you're looking at Chris Braswell. Shane Lee didn't stay for long, but that was just because of the talent he had in front of him. Kid came in, played serviceable his freshman year. That's a school that it's like IMG. Those guys are super battle tested. They've played against good competition. You know you're probably getting somebody. And I think, Lou, you've put it best 2 weeks in a row now where when you're looking at this Womack defense, you have got to get pressure. You've got to get pressure. Tank Jones, Zion Ely, man, they're going to get to the quarterback. So for me, Bama has to go 50% on those two names right there. That to me is a big litmus test. Christian Robinson, one of the two. Bama really needs one of the two. If you can get both, go for it. But it's not every day you get a class that includes Will Anderson, Chris Braswell, and Drew Sanders, 3 of the top 5 edge rushers in the nation. That was freaky, like a frog with a mustache. I just need one.
Got it.
That's the position.
I love it. I love it. Well,
A frog with a mustache.
he got one of the mustaches that curl up on the side. I think we covered that topic. So, let's get these recruits in, Bama staff, and let's get these priority recruits. So, guys, let's shift to this year's football team. Big news, Ryan Grubb coming to be the offensive coordinator at the helm. Nick Saban is going to be the QB coach. Ryan Grubb, I love his attitude. He's kind of got like, this is what we're going to do. No nonsense. Whatever happened in the past has happened, but we want to, most Alabama fans care about defense and running the ball. So we're going to tackle running the ball right now. And, before I give it to Luscion, I'm going to let him start it off on this, how Ryan Grubb can maximize the load of RB room. I'm going to throw a little wrinkle. I want each of you to give me your why. Who you think needs to be RB1 and how Ryan Grubb can maximize the load of RB room, starting with Luscion Graves. Threw you for a loop on that one.
So you want me to just give who I think is going to be the top running back?
Who do you think should be the top running back? And then how does Ryan Grubb maximize the loaded RB room?
It's obviously got to be Jam Miller. He's the guy.
Okay.
But as far as how Ryan Grubb's going to maximize the running back room, if you look at everywhere he's been, specifically his last 2 stops in Fresno State and Washington, as soon as he's got there, the amount of times that team has run the ball has increased a very significant amount. So everybody that thinks that he's not a running the football type of offensive coordinator because his quarterback can throw for 4,000 yards a season is absolutely out of their minds. He likes to pound the rock. Now, the interesting thing is he's never had the depth that we have at Alabama. I don't think any team has had the depth that we have at Alabama. So watching him, what he's going to actually be able to do with, say, 425 carries between 4 running backs, that's going to be dangerous, especially since, the country keeps on making the schedule soft as baby shit and wanting to make it go 17 games. You're going to need 3-4 running backs. And what Grubb's going to do, Grubb's going to make these guys carries count. We might not see the hammering that we're used to with our running backs, but he's going to make them run when it counts. The runs are going to be effective and they're going to be long and they're going to gash the defense.
I like that. Chris, give us your take on Grubb maximizing the loaded RB room. And who do you think should be RB1?
Well, it's got to be Jam. He's the veteran of the crew, going to his senior year. Just because you're RB1 doesn't mean that you're going to get the most carries.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? RB1 just means that that's your leader of your room. That's who starts for you. But I think the way Grubb can maximize their running back room is by getting more guys at them early, start rotating them in, give them touches. And then you go from there, then you see who has the hot hand. And that's who you ride for the rest of the game. Whoever has the hot hand. You got to get those guys involved early, man. Because sit on that sideline for a while, then going in cold, that's not you got to get those guys involved early, whether that's 2-back sets. Just like Georgia did, Tom Monkey did a great job of it. of getting all those different backs involved at Georgia. And that's how I think Grubb can do it, man. Just getting those guys early touches, man, and just and just seeing, who looks the part, because every night it's gonna be somebody different. You know how it is. The game by game situation, man. Whoever's hot, because we're too talented to have a running back that's struggling back there in the backfield when you got all that talent on the bench. So just ride a hot hand.
I like that. I think that set that they run at Georgia with all the running backs is called the keg set. So just being heard about that.
Jailbreak.
Was it the kegs? Was it the keg set or the Fast and Furious set?
It's called the Jaeger shot set. I think that's something what it's called. The 40 ounce.
Jaeger and Drive.
It's called the Catch Me If You Can.
All right, Pettey, give us your take on this. Who should be RB1? And how does Grubb maximize the RB room?
24/7 actually had a good article on this, and me and Smoke did a little breakdown on the running back room and the efficiency of it. And man, the numbers were actually kind of staggering. Jam Miller had some of the worst numbers in college football as far as first down rushing yardages. I mean, he was about 70 spots behind Haynes. But I think a lot of that still was the flow of the offense. You would see so many games where the running backs, Jam and Justice, would have 6 and 7 carries apiece. I don't feel like they ever got to get in the flow. With that said, though, man, I think the guy's got to be Richard Young. I think Jam's going to get his chance, but you better hold on to it, son, because I don't think he's got a very firm grasp on it. And I think Richard Young, man, sorry to the Bama backs the past couple years, but we really got spoiled in the era of the 3-headed monsters, when the third monster would be Eddie Lacy or Bo Scarborough or, whoever the next phenom was going to be. But I think out of this whole group, Richard Young is the closest to looking like one of those three horsemen that we had back in the day. It's got to be Young. Young's a stud. Let him get his carries. Let him eat. He's going to get stronger as the game goes on. And I've seen the name mentioned a lot in chat. Look, man, this kid coming out of Mississippi's ready to play. AK Deer's a baller, man. I think AK can find some snaps in the backfield real damn quick. So that's what I think.
I like it. Let's go to Dan, then I go to Ty.
Yeah, I want to echo what my guys said. Yeah, you got to start with Jam Miller. He's proven, he's most experienced. We know what he can do in pass pro. We know what he can do as a receiver out of the backfield. So it should be Jam just because of that alone. But, like Chris said, just because you're running back number one doesn't mean, you get all the carries, because Richard Young is the guy that's capable of carrying it 20 plus times a game, with his style of play, and he's a home run hitter, complete package. And I also like AK Deer. He's young, he's got to pick up the playbook, pass pro, things like that. But definitely, we're what I want to see from Grubb is, man, let's bring back the pistol formation and get these guys going downhill. I'm sick of the read option as our primary run game. Let's get in the pistol, and let's get the guys, let's get the guards out pulling, and let's attack, in the run game. Let's quit trying to break it on the perimeter all the time. Let's just get downhill, and let's test the will of the opposing team.
I like that. Ty, anything you want to add?
Yeah, in terms of Grubb, we saw what he did with Dylan Johnson. And as great as Penix and the weapons on the outside of that offense was significantly different whenever Dylan Johnson was so banged up, especially in the Texas game and the Michigan game, when they didn't have access to their guy that was a huge force of that offense. It looked a little bit different, and that should give everybody some excitement in terms of what Grubb is going to want to do, right? It's something that I think DeBoer wants to do in general. But Sheridan, it's just like we talked about a few weeks ago where I compared it to like studying for a test where he's still in the studying phase where Grubb is in the mastering phase. And so I think one of the biggest things you're going to see is complementary play calling. That's something I thought Bama was severely lacking this year. It got very obvious when they were going to do what. And I think that really hurt Bama as the season went on. In terms of who's the guy, I'm not going to disagree here with anybody here who said Jam, because I think Jam is so talented. But just because we've had it said so many times, I'm going to play devil's advocate here a little bit. Pettey, I'm siding with you. You lost Justice Haynes, right? And I am real high on Justice Haynes. But between Justice Haynes and Jam Miller, neither one of them, and listen, Justice Haynes is very talented. He looked timid running the football at times, right? Like it looked indecisive. Richard Young is not indecisive. Richard Young will see the sliver and he's attacking. And Jam has that ability, but Jam to me is best to the outside. Like when Jam gets outside the tackle, man, he's as dangerous as a running back can get. But Richard Young, to me, is that type of physical back that, Pettey, you put it, I think so well, Bama has been needing. That Bama has been wanting. And he's hungry. And he had that real long run. And you remember, he looked at the coaching staff and was almost looking at them as if to say, nobody else wants to attack the line of scrimmage. I'm right here. I'll attack the line of scrimmage. And I'm not going to stop it. I just think that's the type of energy that's going to be really big for Alabama's offense, especially with the new offensive coordinator, is attacking the line of scrimmage. I don't think Bama had a better running back than Richard Young at that this season.
Lou?
I just want to also mention something, just kind of add this in. One of the things that Ryan Grubb likes to utilize in his offensive scheme is ball catching running backs. He's not just going to pound the rock with them. He is going to utilize these guys in the passing game, and they're going to be used in a high-octane way. They're not just going to be used as screen guys. He actually likes to use them within the passing game. So it's not just going to be the guy that can actually hit the rock or hit the hole or make the block and all that stuff that we talked about. It's also going to be which guy can actually make an impact in the pass catching game too, because Grubb likes to use his running backs in every single way he can. Because if you have a running back that can literally do anything on the field, a Swiss Army knife, he's going to bang you for 50. No, did he? He's going to freaking be able to block a freaking guy coming off the edge, a linebacker that our quarterback doesn't necessarily see, and be physical. That's who's going to play. And we got too many guys that can do that. And it's going to be very dangerous going forward as a defensive coordinator thinking, okay, they had this guy go off this week. Oh, they had this guy go off the week before. It's going to be a situation where when we had Bo, Damian, and Josh Jacobs, where you're not going to know who's going to go off that week. And that doesn't do anything but be a quarterback's best friend. And we got a new quarterback. So it's very important is that run game.
I like that. I think I'm going to kind of play it. I like that point you made, Lou. You know, I'm going to set it up like this. Listen, we're going to have a young quarterback, whoever it is going in there. We're going to need somebody that can really establish the run. And I think once the season gets going on, we can have different personnel groupings, as Ty alluded to, and Luscion said, Mr. All-Around type of running backs. And I think that's what's going to separate, you know, who's going to get, you know, the most touches, you know, the top three backs. But from a defensive perspective, if I want to see a defense that's a running back that I don't want to see coming down the hill, I'm gonna go with Richard Young. I just think he's got power, he's got speed. I think the more carries, I just think he has a lot of untapped potential. And I think with him, Jam, possibly AK Deer, we can have a lethal running back room, and I just want creativity. That's all I want Ryan Grubb to do. Get creative runs downhill, just feed the guys. So anything y'all want to add on this?
Oh, don't forget the running back from Louisiana, Monroe.
Oh yeah, that guy. Dan, what's his name?
Which one were you now?
The transfer, running back.
Draylen Washington.
Oh yeah, oh man,
Draylen Washington.
Yeah, the from Louisiana. Yeah. I'm thinking he's coming in to be at least the third back. You don't bring in the experienced back like that without him, being implemented into the game plan some kind of way. So yeah, that's another one. Yeah, I forgot about him.
But man, those are the kids that always end up you write off, and then the next thing you know, they're getting the bulk of carries. And man, I'm pissed at myself because he's from Mississippi. But I'll never forget the year Bama brought in Dart. It was 3 backs, and there was a 4-star smaller kid from Mississippi that ended up getting a lot of the carries and ended up being a damn good back. Whose name am I forgetting? Not Pendleton. He might have been from Pendleton, Mississippi. I'll have to come back and think about it. But no, don't write off the Monroe kid, man. He was, again, in that article, he was one of the more efficient backs on first down in all of college football.
Right. And I don't think he had too much tread on his tire either.
It wasn't Terry Grant, was it?
It was Grant. Grant came in a class of studs and ended up being one of the better backs in that group. Thank you, Chris.
I thought it was D Moore.
Oh,
we got enough running backs that he can situationally choose with his personnel. Because you guys, we can't forget in the freshman we signed last year in the Hammer and Daniel Hill and Kevin Riley. We haven't seen them at untapped potential too. Situationally, Grubb can fit them in too in a niche. So you really can't count anybody out, especially if they're in an Alabama locker room, no matter what's going on.
I like it. And
Dane Hill's up around the 245-pound range.
Yeah, Hill could be the next Jalston Fowler.
He can be the next H.
Yeah. Well,
listen, speaking of age, speaking of not counting guys out, when you're working out and getting fit for your summer or spring, make sure you go to wetwillsports.com and get you an amazing, beautiful crimson title towel at wetwillsports.com. As you can see in the screen, these are amazing towels to have. Go get you one at wetwillsports.com. Use the promo code STANDARD. Get you a title towel at wetwillsports.com. So, guys, let's shift to our next topic. And Luscion, I'm going to let you handle this one. Bama's best special teams player of the last 20 years. So it's 2024. We're going back to 2004. All right, going back to 2004. Give us Bama's best special teams player of the last 20 years.
Okay.
That cut you off, little bro.
Huh?
Talking about Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, let Chris go first.
My man Lou's done some research on this topic.
Yeah, go Luscion. You started off.
All right. So the last 20 years, Alabama has only missed the top 50 in either kick return or specifically punt returner, ranked top 50 twice, and that's 2004 and the year 2005. Every other season, we've had either a top punt returner or a top kick returner. That's impressive because if you think about it, it's really not something that's ever been really highlighted except a couple times, specifically when Jalen Waddle led the country in punt returns. Christian Jones did it in 2015. And my man Javier Arenas in 2008. Now, personally, I'm going to go with Javier Arenas because he was not only dynamic in the punt return, he was also dynamic in the kickoff return. And he was also just a G all-around Alabama player. So my choice, top specialist in the last 20 years, it's got to be Javier Arenas.
Javi. Chris K. James Sr. Give us your take on Bama's best special teams player.
Eddie Jackson, dude.
Oh,
First of all, man, something happened. Eddie was unreal. I really believe Eddie was on his way to being possibly a Heisman finalist the year
he got hurt. I was so hurt.
He was in his bag that year, man. He's as far as returner, as far as kicker, man, you got to go a real Reichard because I think that
we said one player, Chris.
Here we go. Chris about to take it. Chris, you better cut it off now.
We said one player.
Y'all on my alley now.
We said one player, Chris.
Then we going coverage wise.
No, you stop right there.
Put him on. Mute him.
Shut that whore mouth.
And the number one water boy of the past 20 years was who, Chris?
I got all that, boy.
You know what restaurant you really like?
Pettey, we should have betted to see if Chris was going to name one player, and he ends up trying to name three.
Dude, I'm sitting here getting so damn excited because I'm like, I'm about to pop everybody, and then Chris starts naming. I'm like, hell no, here it goes.
Man.
Now, hey,
I'm gonna sit over on that 4.
I was gonna give you one of every category, baby.
No, don't do it. We got the rest of the panel. Pettey, go before Chris names his top 5 special teams player of the last 20 years in the SEC, in the NFL. And
I can tell you, Lou nailed it with the returner, Javier Arenas, and I got Javi's just a great human, great person. He was there during the storms, did a lot for the city, but he just did, like you said, he's just the G all the way around. But if you're going with the most exciting special teams player in the last 20 years, it's that heat-sinking missile that came down and knocked the block off of that one LSU running back, one Mr. Reuben Foster.
I like that. I like that. You can't go wrong with that.
Hey Matt.
Yo.
You were going to name him, weren't you, Chris?
No, I wasn't going to say Reuben. I wasn't going to say him.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Chris.
Coverage, I was going to go off one of those walk-ons, man. Like,
wait. Let Ty go first. Let Ty.
No. I'm not going to tell you. I was going to tell you. I was going to say who Dan was. Papanostas.
Let Ty.
Don't ever mention that name again.
Let Ty. Give me nightmares. Go, Ty. Give us your top special teams player the last 20 years.
So I'm going to take this route just because I think that y'all have already named some great ones, right? And I just want to bring a different name to the chat, but I can't argue with Eddie Jackson, Arenas, or Jalen Waddle. I think all 3 of those. But I'll tell you who one of my favorite was. Cyrus Jones, when he used to return punch. Y'all remember that Michigan game where he hit that dude with the stutter step?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, he went on a crazy run of punt returns. Cyrus Jones, I think, is a guy that doesn't, just in terms of even Bama as well, like you just don't talk about him as much. But that guy was really, really fun to watch on that punt return. Yeah. So, yeah, listen, I'm not saying he supersedes any of the guys y'all named. Y'all named winners, but just that's a personal one for me because he had some moves, and I'll never forget that Michigan stutter step.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Touchdown.
Dan?
Hey, Pettey.
Yeah.
Let's let Dan go real quick.
All right, I'm gonna get y'all since we're giving one. You know, y'all named all the returners. I'm gonna go with Devontae Smith. You know, he was excellent in the return game, excellent as a gunner. You know, so you know, I look at the guys that contributed more than one way.
Oh, he threw me for a loop on that.
He was dangerous, you know, in a lot of ways on special team.
Yeah, now you changed my answer.
That's a really good one.
I was gonna go. Dang, you threw me for.
Don't call him the Godfather for nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the all-time points leader. I'm gonna go with Mr. Will Reichard. But
nobody named Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, it's so many I want to go, but I'm gonna let Chris name all the others, and y'all can your honorable mention.
Let me throw like 5 in before Chris.
You can't name Reuben Foster without mentioning Matt Wilson.
Oh, he was a beast at special teams. Yeah,
J.K. Scott.
Hey man, I got a question, man. Why y'all had to stop at 20 years, man? Why couldn't it be 20?
Because there's only one real answer to this, and he wore number 2.
Yeah,
there's one, and then there's everybody else.
Hey, Proto was a bad boy too. Now
Proto was a bad
mofo doing it.
He was within the last 25 years.
Mays was a problem.
No, Porto's in the last 20 years.
Yeah, Proto's the last 20.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, he came in 03. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he right.
He was the first stat in 04.
Yeah.
Nationally ranked kick returner.
I knew Pro was the man when he ran back that kickoff as a true freshman against Kentucky. Remember that match?
Yeah, him and Lil B back there.
Yep. Brandon Brooks. He was a bad boy too now.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Who else we said? Kenyon Drake. I said Mays.
Christian Jones, man.
Christian Jones.
There was apparently the Whiskey Rivers caught me tonight. I'm having to ask for names. I forgot about the Grant's name, but there was a JUCO linebacker that came in y'all's in that era where, the decade I was in college. Pope, was it Pope that would just light mother up on
my
kickoff?
boy, D Pope.
D Pope was a monster on kickoff team. That's
Pope was.
I don't remember his name.
He definitely one of the most intimidating guys I've ever seen. When I stepped in Alabama locker room, I was like, "Oh."
Hey, Mac Wilson used to smack people too.
Mac Wilson, that's another go. Oh, Wilson was like Pope. They would come down.
He knocked what's his face tooth
Speedy Noel in the Texas A&M game.
Yeah, that's when he knocked his mouthpiece out. Oh yeah, that's
his tooth.
It was his tooth.
Ooh.
Yeah, he knocked his teeth out.
You said Pope was the most intimidating. Was he that dude in the locker room?
When I first seen him, I was like, okay.
The most intimidating was when I walked there was Salim Rashid, man.
Oh man. I saw D Pope, he had a do-rag just rocked up, and I was like, okay.
Oh. Salim,
like. Okay, that's a linebacker. He may kill me.
I went in there, man, the weight room, man. I saw Salim and Victor Ellis working with their shirts off. I mean, I put mine back on.
Gonna put mine back on.
Okay.
All right, guys. So I think we covered all those topics. Get in the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are. So let's go from on the field to on the court. Alabama basketball had a big time loss versus those team down in the barn on Saturday, college game day. Looked like Alabama was just kind of out of sync. Let's just, Pettey, Dan, Chris, just recap and just talk about what Alabama needs to do to bounce back versus Missouri and get back in the win column through this tough stretch.
Man, this is a dangerous matchup, man. Missouri's only lost one game. They've only lost one game at home this year, and they beat Kansas and stuff. This is a tough one to come off of, man. And the turnovers, we were talking about this. Your worst warts are going to get you. And man, I love Sears. We live and die with him, but that was a game we kind of died with Sears. I think he played over emotional a little too. There's just a lot of unforced turnovers in that game. And look, Auburn's going to make you pay. They're the real damn deal. And it seemed like you said, it feel like we were ever in the game because every time we'd make a run, you'd need that 3-point shot. It would clank. It was almost like we were forcing the three instead of just shooting it and letting it fly. Yeah. And then Auburn would immediately go down and answer with the Baker Mares kid or either Broom. So, yeah, man, it's one game. It sucks that it's your rival. You wanted to beat Auburn. It's the first 1-2 matchup, all the hoopla, all that crap. But at the end of the day, it's just one game. You take it and you learn from it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I agree, man. We lived and died with Sears, man. Like I felt like he was trying to kind of almost like hero ball a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He was going in there just into the land of giants. See what we have small guards, right? So length gives us problems on the perimeter trying to shoot over.
Pause.
So yeah, I hate that.
Especially when it's 30-year-old men.
Big wide.
Their whole team is like over 25, man. That whole team should be on their second NBA contract, like for real.
Really?
Seriously, they should be out there rookie. They're 25, 20, like seriously. But Auburn, like, come on, man, you had to know Bruce Pearl. Like they had a little brother inferiority. if you're the complex. So y'all all already knew that Auburn was going to come in there trying to prove a point. Come on. That's just Auburn. We're that Super Bowl in football, we're the Super Bowl in basketball, we're the Super Bowl in baseball, every sport we're their Super Bowl. So we knew that they're going to play the best game of their season coming in. And where we messed up was we stopped attacking. Like we just tried to settle for threes, just contested three after contested three. They'll get the rebound, go back the other way, and they'll knock theirs down, or they'll get inside the broom, or they did damage, man. Like I felt like they their game plan was to force the pushes off the 3-point line and force us to take long contested shots. And if they weren't dropping, we were in trouble. And that's what's so dangerous about our team in March, man. One bad shooting night, dog. We at home, against a team with any type of defense that can score like Auburn. But you have those types of nights. So I really expect us to go in there and put a methodical beat down on Missouri tomorrow, just from what happened Saturday. Nate Oates been on their tail. They practice hard, so they're about to. They're about to. All right, Ty. They're about to come in tomorrow, man, with a point to prove. I think Pettey, and remind people why they're the number 2 team in the country. I truly believe. Well, number 4 now, but I truly believe that tomorrow night you'll see a Bama, and we've been playing better on the road anyway. I feel like we're a better road team than home team for whatever reason.
Just mentality with these kids. I agree with you though. I do too. This is a big spot though, man. This is an answer. You're gonna see what you're made of type of grit game, and then one that, hey man, if Bama's playing the ball they're capable of, we're gonna whip that tail. But it's gonna be a tough one, man. Missouri's they're nasty.
Well, yeah, but Pettey, I want to say this. Turnover is not really what cost us the game. We actually improved on turnover a little bit, but.
Yeah, but there were still, and I say that because I remember a few key, and you're right, the numbers weren't the high double digits. I mean, we were getting between 15 and 20 the last 3 or 4 games. But the problem was it seemed like when the runs would come, we'd cut it to 2, 1, or even when we tied it, we'd get excited and just rush a turnover, and then Auburn would immediately take the lead back. So it wasn't as bad. It just seemed they came at the worst times possible. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, but what killed us was, like Chris said, the length, but also, we're at home and you only shoot 19% from 3-point range, while your opponent, who also happen to be the number 1 team in the country, shoots almost 50%.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah, you're not gonna beat Auburn shooting 50% behind the arc. I'm sorry. If Auburn, and I know nobody wants to hear this, if Auburn shoots 50% from the 3-point land,
nobody's being
probably going to win the national title.
All right. I got a question. I heard Bama fans saying that the Byron Phylon needs to be in the starting lineup more. Do you think that's the issue that can help Alabama bounce back?
It doesn't really matter because all the guys getting their fair share of minutes.
They all get 25 minutes.
It doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter in this system, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody getting a lot of minutes. We're putting up a lot of shots. So that doesn't really matter.
People are questioning that. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just gonna say real quick. I just feel like Philo should be the primary ball handler because Sears is a turnover machine. But go ahead.
That's what
that's what people were saying.
That's why people are kind of, you're hearing those echoes because look, man, it's hard not to say this team doesn't run through Sears and he can obviously shoot. Well, I mean, if he can shoot that good, a lot of people don't see why he couldn't be the off guard and run it through Holloway or Phylon. It seemed to me a little less turnover. Phylon's young. He's small. He might get – I think they're more worried about just his size, his durability to do it long term.
Right. But, he's 6'4".
But
the Holloway kid is thick.
I think what we should do is give teams different looks. You know how we used to run the offense through the 4? We did it times successfully last year with Grant Nelson. Let's show teams different looks. So I don't know. That's just my suggestion. We can show teams different looks.
I agree, Dan. I feel like sometimes we should run it through Nelson, man, like the North Carolina game. Sometimes we should run through Stevenson because Stevenson has a good offensive game too.
Yeah.
Get those guys at the elbow, and and see, we can do the dribble drive high low game. It's so many looks you can give, where you get shots at the rim, which he wants,
And I feel like we can do so much more with Diabate, man.
But Diabate's the one that I'd like to see even get more minutes. I know they like the height of Big Red down low, but I feel like he's still trying to kind of find his flow in this. And I feel like he's gotten better the last couple of games. But, man, it just seems like when Diabate's in, he makes so much more happen. I would like to see a little more Diabate too.
Hey, but I would – and, man, you want me to tell you somebody else who needs to play more? Because when they're playing more, they're good. Reed, man. Reed, I know he's coming off an injury, but when Reed's going good, we're going good. And I think that Reed
– everybody.
Well, and that's it. Look, that just goes to this team still got a lot of depth. You can get upset about that Auburn game, but the odds that Bama's getting paired with Auburn come March when it matters the most are probably zero. Bama's going to be a 1-2 seed. Auburn's going to be a 1-2. Get the right draw. This Bama team still got Final Four run because of what you're just talking about, Chris, the depth.
Do you think Oates is saving all that stuff for later on in March Madness to
That's what I wonder.
run the offense through 3 different looks? Just
But
saving
the
it
thing
for
he's not going to show everything right now.
What are you waiting for? You want to
Your positioning proceeds. I just think it was a night that I think Dan nailed it, and the turnovers as much as, and it was more the timeliness, but you're shooting 18% behind the arc, and that's one of your lifebloods for Alabama to win it all. That's one of the things we thrive on. Those threes have got to be falling. You got to be shooting them with confidence. Like I said, I felt like we're forcing them versus just letting them fly the other night.
But I feel like Auburn is the only team that really could choke us out like that.
I do too.
Pause.
Florida's also Florida and Auburn.
Florida, hey man, Florida is going to be tough, man. What they did to Oklahoma tonight, Florida won.
As long as they don't choke it out too long and make us pop up everywhere, we'll be all right.
Florida beat Oklahoma by 22 tonight. And another update: Mississippi State beat A&M, the 7th-ranked A&M by 16 at home tonight.
No, State's nasty. Dude, the whole SEC, we've talked about this.
Choking out too long.
and once again, and when you mention Kansas, I like Kansas. Dan to tell you I like Kansas, but Kansas is down to about 20 at halftime to BYU.
Kansas falling
They
apart.
are
They've struggled here lately.
They're 3-4 in their last 7 games.
Now the SEC is the deal now.
Oh man, Pettey, you are hilarious. You got me and Luscion.
I wonder how Riley Griffin is feeling.
like he should have stayed. But really, y'all, with like how
really, dropped so many balls in my lap before I pop one of them out.
How much time? Like, do we get young blood if Riley Griffin stays? Do we even get young blood?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather have young blood.
He from Tuscaloosa. The question is, will we have gone after Mallet?
Houston Mallet. Yeah.
But Mallet's gonna redshirt. I think next year our shooting is gonna be much better with Mallet and Wrightsell and Nas Cunningham. I think our shooting is gonna be
that's who we're missing, Wrightsell.
Way better. Yeah.
Well, he's come back. He's been injured, but he's
Wait till y'all see Nas Cunningham.
I believe it. All right, guys. Well, so many jokes I want to make about what y'all said. Y'all got me and Luscion cracking up over here.
Pettey's
we hope Oates and the Tide bounce back versus Missouri tomorrow night in a tough environment up there in Columbus, Missouri. So they need to get a win to get back in the winning column. Pettey, let's go to your mailbag. Round us out on the show.
Mailbag time. You got this, Justin? Is he going? Okay. All right. I did have some questions. Apparently, people liked that I delved into the world of food last time, so I got more food questions. And one that I found very interesting out of the various ones was, Pettey, what do you think is the best fast food chain? And I kind of hate Ty's left because I did have a dig at him in there because I know those Texas people like to talk about Whataburger, which, hey, man, Whataburger isn't bad. They got that spicy ketchup. It's okay. It's good, but it's not. I know Cali people are going to talk about In-N-Out. In-N-Out loses solely because their fries suck. But look, an In-N-Out animal-style burger is it's up there if you rank the burgers, possibly one of the best in the country. Now, I know people up in Lou's territory will talk about some White Castle shit, but we in the South invented a place called Crystal's that just craps all over White Castle. And if you ain't had a Crystal Burgers at 1 a.m. after a night on the strip in Tuscaloosa, you ain't lived.
Right.
Man, I think the obvious choice is Arby's. Come on, man. You can get a roast beef, and not the kind of roast beef that Hugh Freeze gets at the massage parlors. Or if you want a chicken sandwich, man, Arby's just got it. It's the full gamut. It's the one place that I go to that I struggle ordering because I could get something different every time. All the others, you kind of got your order. Arby's is the one that doesn't. Arby's is the best fast food in the country. Not write it down. Discuss. You're welcome. Whatever. Crystals, though, dude. Crystals is so. Low-key, Crystals is probably my favorite. I grew up, Mississippi. You get a sack of Crystals and ooh. All right. Pettey.
I put Arby's in the category Whataburger. I could go the rest of my life without.
What? What you
Arby's.
got at number one?
Oh my goodness! If you're gonna say fast food, oh man,
The best hamburger is a Whopper.
I'm gonna say Five Guys.
That's not fast food.
It's not fast food.
Well,
If you got it for fast food, it's got to have a window to get it.
Hey,
okay. Well then, okay. Oh man, people in Texas, Oklahoma know. I say Brahms ice cream and dairy.
Oh,
Pettey,
okay. Yes,
Pettey,
sir.
you can't beat a fresh Whopper from Burger King.
I had Burger King in like 3 years.
Wendy's has great burgers, but
Jack?
you can't.
I'm gonna give y'all the best one, Jack's.
Jack's is one I'll take. I'll take.
Same category as Whataburger and
Y'all sleeping on
Arby's.
Jack's.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got some Jacks here.
Luke,
Hey,
Luke, you got Luke. Set these people straight.
Milo's.
Jack in the Box.
Milo's.
Milo's.
They're mid. Their tea's good. Their fries are good.
Hey,
Listen, I'm a real classic type of guy. You know what I'm saying? Give me a Wendy's. Give me a Wendy's.
Wendy's double stacked.
The old school. Give me the old school yellow box fries with the old school wrapping. Right. With the red. Yeah, give me that old school.
Yeah.
I'm
I can dig that. I can dig. And Wendy's at one point had the best chicken sandwich in the game. And
Crystals,
without a doubt.
Crystals used to have a burger, the BA burger.
Oh yeah,
that was the best burger ever.
But no, man, you just get a number one with cheese, a root beer, and then you get ketchup on it, and then you bite, and then get a bite of fry and wash it down with that root beer, and it's an O in the mouth. All right, next question. With the draft coming up,
awesome.
I'm glad Lou called it. I dropped that one about as quick as I could drop one before moving on.
Pause.
There's a lot of, with the draft coming up, we've got a weak draft class, according to many, outside of the running backs. So this gives ample opportunity for those shitty NFL franchises who like to screw this up to really blow this draft. So it got me thinking, who is the absolute worst NFL team in the draft, Pettey? And I'm like, all right, man. So I had to think. My boy Lou's Raiders are always classic. They if you run a 4-1 and come from Uganda, they'll sign you regardless if you catch the football or not. They don't give a shit. So, they would sign receivers that showed up in their underwear running a 4-1 that were going to go in the 7th round. And Al Davis was like, I got him. Take him. We're going to make him work. They're up there. Giants, I will never forget them passing over Laramie Tunsil because of a gas mask and taking Eli Apple. Maybe one of the dumb, but that was just the tip of the iceberg of the dumb shit the Giants would always do. The Giants would need an offensive lineman to protect Eli, and then they would go get a defensive tackle from South Dakota State University Methodist that you never heard of again. It was fucking stupid.
Man, listen, they let Saquon Barkley.
And then they're just dumb. And then they get Daniel Jones was who you got. That's who you put your franchise in, a Duke quarterback? Come on.
The Patriots not
Duke quarterback.
Jets are
Patriots.
low-key like lifetime award winners at this. Them some bitches will take Sanchez. I mean, I remember DeBrickashaw Ferguson. I thought that was a good idea, but when he's the only dude on the team, nobody notices or cares. But there's one answer. The Bears took Mitchell Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes. I guess they thought that was a good call. Then they take Caleb Williams over Jaden Daniels. Boy, you are doing a stand-up job on the quarterback market there. The Bears.
Pettey.
Yeah.
Pettey. How are you forgetting the Browns?
Well, they don't count.
And
The Browns are really
Okay.
You don't count them
I
as
just want to throw
NFL
that
team.
out there. Like,
I'm gonna add one.
The Browns. I guess I should have, when I said the Jets, I just should have said the Brown Jets because they're the same organization. The Brown Jets that comes out of your backside when they make a pick. That's who they are. What were you gonna say, Matt?
Feel like a team that screwed their franchise over. Buffalo Bills. They traded with the Kansas City Chiefs to get Patrick Mahomes. Last year, they traded with the Kansas City Chiefs to get Xavier Worthy. I mean, they have really cursed their own franchise, and the reason they can't get over the hump is because they keep dealing with the Chiefs. So
yeah, but they made up for Mahomes with Allen. It's the Worthy stuff.
I love Josh Allen. I'm just saying, if they never made that trade, they probably would at least have one Super Bowl, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, man, the Browns are idiots. The Browns also at one point hired a former Alabama quarterback as their head coach.
Brady Kitchens.
When they hired Fat Freddie as their head coach, I about lost my damn mind. That was the fun.
The Titans haven't been drafted worth of crap either lately.
Oh, there's a lot of bad ones. This is actually a great debate because Luther in the Browns and they're absolutely one of the worst. There's the Saints are really good at screwing up draft day. There's a lot of classics out there, but with the draft coming up, that's what I was the Bears, because maybe it's just on my mind because I've screwed up on the quarterback so bad lately. I do agree with Matt though. The Bills are low key a good one. Final question, Pettey. The all season coming up, everything going on. Which SEC coach is on the hottest seat next season? Whew. We've got 3 good candidates. One of them is down there in Baton Rouge, and that's Freddie Kitchens. He dated my cousin in high school. Oh, boy, man, that's a story we got to hear at some point. The Falcons are real bad, too. Who's on the hottest seat in the SEC next year? Look, I think this is actually a good debate because we could see 3 or 4 coaches get fired next year, so it's a bunch of them. So you got to look at Kelly at LSU. They're growing tired of his weirdness, the bad defenses, and it just not working. It hasn't worked. Brent Venables is probably going to get fired if they don't win at Oklahoma. His seat's really damn hot. If you haven't been paying attention, Brent Venables is probably going to get the axe next year. But one team has spent more this postseason than any other so far in NIL, and that's not Texas A&M. That's not the Lane Train at Ole Miss. That's your famous booger eaters from Lee County, the Auburn Tigers and Hugh Freeze. They have spent some money this offseason, ladies and gentlemen. They're tired of going to the Duke's Mayo Bowl and getting it pushed in from teams like Maryland. They're tired of all the Hugh Freeze hand job jokes. They're ready to become winners again, and they've spent all kind of money doing it. So you damn right, Hugh Freeze better start winning and winning quick. He's yet to beat Georgia. He's yet to beat Bama. He's in year 3 of getting chances at that. You don't get many more. And now that Auburn has put all of their Yellowwood resources into this shit to get that massage parlor machine off and running next year, you better believe results are expected on the Plains next year. There is no doubt. I do think we see several coaches go. I think Venables and Kelly, but the hottest seat. And look, if you wear a crimson outfit and coach, you're on a hot seat. So, I mean, there's a bunch of guys on hot seats. Like DeBoer was on a hot seat the day he signed his name on the paper. But no hotter seat than my boy down in Auburn, Hughley Freeze. And, buddy, if you go 7-8 wins this year, I think we may have seen our last year of the freezer on the Plains.
Is that also because they use heat lamps in the massage parlors, Pettey? That it seats so hot?
It could be, or it could be that Justin Tucker warmed it up before he got there.
Oh, Justin
or
Tucker,
Deshaun Watson.
Hugh Freeze. Never seen him in the same room.
Not in the same time. Never seen him in the same parlor. And never been banned from the same one. Never seen him banned from the same parlor.
I've seen paperwork that says otherwise.
And that's my mailbag for tonight. Keep them coming, people. I'll keep answering questions. I just like Auburn with every fiber of my being. I don't like them much either, Kanafi. I think they
Auburn is weird. Let me tell you, if Auburn wins, knock on wood, if they win the national championship in basketball, they're so weird. They would care less about Hugh Freeze. That's just how Auburn is. That's just weird. They could care less. They could lose in football and Hugh Freeze still be around being mediocre for another 5-6 years. They could care less.
I don't know, man. I don't think he can take losing to Georgia and Alabama anymore. Those games mean something to the weirdos, that cult down there on the plains.
Yeah, because they are family.
Yeah.
Family.
Family, yeah, whatever. They're a bunch of red-headed.
I think
I hate them.
I think the hottest seat Pettey is Venables, man.
I think so too.
Venerable, look, I think it's debatable. Brian Kelly's up in that debate too, though, man, guys. Let's be real.
Well, Brian Kelly with 9 wins, 9-3, but he's in the best. He's
getting one.
Who?
Arkansas.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
I almost feel, I don't know if that's a hot seat or like Sam's just gonna go to pasture at some point. I don't because they should have fired him like last year.
So
I think he'll retire before they fire him. I think he'll retire.
That's what I think, Chris. I think he kind of walks out before they get rid of him.
This is his last year at Arkansas.
It might be about his last year coaching college football.
Oh, no doubt. Not by choice.
What is the Auburn water cooler show? Is that a show I need to go check in on and talk to people? Y'all should troll the Auburn water cooler. They are delusional over there. I'll be checking it out and making some new friends. They like me at Auburn. I've been told my mom should have swallowed me by several of them this year. We got some Q&A. They don't seem to like my thoughts on Hugh Freeze. I don't get it. He ain't winning for you. You know what's funny? They hate me for my thoughts on Hugh Freeze. All those dumbasses are going to hate him and say the same shit 1 year from now, and then we'll all be the same.
Hey,
we'll never be the same as them, Pettey.
It'd be funny, man.
Good call.
If Bama wins the national championship in basketball, Auburn is just going to implode. That'll
heat the seats up for a couple of coaches in Lee County.
Yeah, it will, because that's what they're relying on that right now.
I heard they rolled the trees on Saturday night.
God bless them. I'm sure they did. What weirdos. Drank lemonade and rolled trees and checked out their hottest farm animals. Brian Thomas, question for the panel. Why Bama is not going hard on recruiting D linemen?
Dan?
Good question. Good question, Brian. I don't know. Whatever number they
up over there.
Up it a little bit, I don't know. I guess they want to keep, guys in the locker room happy. So I don't know. That's a good question.
I guess we just want to keep getting 25 sacks a season. I guess we just don't want to be legendary. I guess we just want to be a whole bunch of nice guys in our defensive line because they're sure as hell not doing a lot to change that shit.
I agree.
YOLO. Knappy, we need to GoFundMe for Dan's internet account or what? Man, what you don't realize, Kyle, before the show, Dan's got him a spiffy new mic. He was all set up. Everything was running perfect. And we hit play. And
I got my new soundboard and everything, trying to hook it up, and it finally got to work in a minute before we go live, Kennedy. And guess what? As soon as he hits play, it goes out.
Man, all I know that Dan better have the equipment back at church before Sunday service.
You better not tell Deacon Rivers.
That's a good one, Chris. That's a good one. That is a good one.
James Monroe, our resident Michigan fan in the chat. Hey, James, by the way, man, we appreciate you stopping in down here. We appreciate we appreciate blood from all different parts of this country coming in here and talking a little football with, especially in the off season. Who is QB1 in Bama
right now?
I'm gonna say Ty right now.
Right now, man. But keep an eye on Lauren Russell, and don't be surprised if Matt makes a push.
All right, Chris, just name all the quarterbacks. Yes,
Right.
No, I
That's
you already know the oars. You don't have to tell us the oars.
Well, right now, I mean, shoot, it got to be Ty Simpson. He's the incumbent.
Or.
Hey, first game is gonna have depth chart. It's gonna have or.
Chris, you answered it. It's Ty's job. It's Ty's job until Keyline takes it. It's Ty's job until Keyline takes it, right?
Not 1, 2, and 3. We know who we have on the roster.
He nailed it. It's Ty's job until Keyline comes in and becomes man number one. Our man Van Edwards, AK Deer, cracking the lineup.
I think so.
I expect it to be something like, Najee Henry toward the end of the year. He's gonna start making an impact in some capacity.
There you go. I think he's gonna crack it. I think he's that. I'm on the AK train. I think he's that guy. Then, real question: if our defensive line fails to produce yet again on the field statistically and sending develop talent to the NFL, do we make a change at D-line coach? It's been 5 years.
That's the elephant in the room.
You're gonna have to.
That's a big elephant in the room, Van. I'll let you guys answer it.
Well, I got a personal investment in this. I can't speak on this.
I know
I think you're gonna have to. I think you got to look at. I mean, let's be honest. It's business, guys.
It is.
At the end of the day, you gotta do what's best for the program, the organization, and maybe you shuffle the staff, but there's some areas you gotta address because obviously we're not producing where we need to be at. I mean, you look at some other you look at some other staffs. You look at prime staff. He got freaking Warren Sapp. You look at other staffs. I don't think it's that hard. I mean, I don't know what we're missing, in my opinion. I don't really think, but that's just my take. But I do think you got to address it because we used to be dominant. We don't seem like we're dominant. I don't know if we got complacent in what we're doing at practice or what, but something's got to give.
I think Chris's answer actually speaks volumes for why it's very hard if you're a former player to go home and coach, because either it's going to go one or two ways. You're either going to be a hero or it's not going to work. And when it doesn't work, then it becomes weird because you've got those relationships. You were once a beloved player. And so how do you tell someone you want that you love wore the jersey that, hey man, you're not really getting it done to the standard in this, but you got to do it. Like you said, it's business. I think Lou's going to allude to that, but man, you can say what you want, man. Lou, I'll let you take that part.
To deal with what you just said, have the man coach the position he actually played.
I agree.
There's that.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
I've been doing that for 4 years.
Like, you don't got to get rid of
recruiting's recruiting, and that's lacking.
Right. We have not had a defensive line class worth a damn that has actually been trained and developed in a very long time. Yeah, we might have had one guy, but it's been one guy. It hasn't been a few guys. And our defense has taken steps back. Our secondary is amazing. Mm-hmm. It has been, because we get that talent. Where it has lacked and why we get gashed in the running game, why quarterbacks are just standing back there for 5 seconds, is because we don't have what I call road daggum graders. It's got to happen, and it's going to need to happen, because Bama without a defensive line is not anything. In the SEC, if you don't got guys that can step up and hit a running back in the mouth in the backfield, you will get trounced. I don't give a damn if you have the 5 best corners and safeties in the country. they're still going to get run on because they're going to have to come up and make tackles. So I think there needed to be a change in this because recruiting has fell off. We've let in-state talent go to other places and dominate. Whether they got a situation with NIL, they still are from Bama and they're going to other schools kicking ass. Something has to be done, flat out.
There you go. Joe Edwards, do you believe Grubb and Sheridan will be able to work together since Grubb came in and took his job? Sorry, guys. When I read this, the only thing I could hear it is in the South Park tone from the aliens. They took our jobs. Sorry, I don't know if you watch South Park, but that's.
Well,
do y'all believe this work? How does this work?
They were going to work together regardless,
in the first half.
Left, so he didn't take his job. Sheridan was just
and they worked together at Washington too, right?
Yeah.
So that they're not unfamiliar.
Right.
Van Edwards said Shula was our boy too. We didn't give him the grace in 5 years. He took over at a difficult time. That's actually a damn good point. They took her germs. Sorry, I can't. I see that, and that's all I can damn think is they took her germs. Jermaine Mims, what's up with Kevin Riley? He has the speed we need in the backfield.
Backfired.
Backfired.
All right, we got one more question. We got man. Chris is falling asleep. Matt's baby screaming. Odds on Chris falling asleep, but it's already you've lost that. Bet's out. Pettey's mailbag.
I'm hanging strong tonight, man. I'm hanging strong.
Pettey's mailbag, not to be confused with his stripper name. Oh, that's a very good stripper.
What is it?
You think we have a new D-line coach if our D? Oh, well, we just answered that. I just saw the stripper's name stuff. I want to ask about that. We didn't. Why didn't every Bama player on the Eagles sideline have a title towel? Lots of public. That's a great question. They dropped the ball. They're a bunch of damn ball droppers. Lou's got an answer.
I'm gonna say probably because of the color, and they didn't want to get a whole bunch of obnoxious NFL fines for having the wrong color on their green jersey.
Yeah,
They should have had him with the redskin.
For all those people debating who can claim him, Hurts was wearing Alabama in the press conference. Tough as nails. What happened to Ben Davis? Never lived up. He looked like Tarzan. Looked like Tarzan, played like Jane.
But didn't Ben have a good ball out like when little time?
No.
He played at Gatto. That's how you say it if you live there. Yeah.
Who he transferred to?
Texas.
And didn't do nothing.
And did nothing. Looked like Tarzan, played like Jane.
Yeah.
Who was the best transfer to leave somewhere Bama and go not named Caleb Downs?
Best transfer left? Probably Trey.
Jerome Ford did his thing at Cincinnati.
Yeah, it was a problem.
What about Trey Amos?
Trey Amos
was pretty stout.
You guys, Alvin Kamara, Tennessee.
There you go. There's your answer.
That takes the cake.
That's your answer. Okay, last one. Who was the one that you think
we'll save it for the next one.
Underachieved? Who underachieved the most?
A lot of so many we can't list them.
That transferred or was that
like you spent something big out of them and they underachieved?
Henry freaking Toto.
Hey,
Henry.
He should have gone to Texas A&M.
He'd have been one of them.
Whoever the cornerback was that covered Alonzo, whatever from
could have sold a lot of t-shirts.
They covered Julio in the Mississippi Alabama All-Star game, and Julio
Lawrence.
Alonzo Lawrence. So they moved him from a 3-star to a 5-star, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Julio had turf toe. That's why he looked good." Oh, that even Duke Saban. That's the one that Duke Saban was that kid. All right. Let's give some follows, follow the cast, all that good shit, and tell everybody roll tide and call it a night.
What's up, Smoke Dixon?
Yeah, Smoke has entered. Henry is as a starter in the NFL. Who?
No, he had said Henry told.
Oh yeah, y'all get on Henry, man. He's a starting NFL linebacker.
He's
Why everybody
balling.
hate on that
He's
dude?
balling.
We were talking about what he did in college, though. The disappointment as far as what he was going to be coming to Bama, not what he was in the NFL. That's what I was saying as far as what the transfer, his performance at Bama. Because he was knocking heads off at Tennessee.
Yeah, Bama, he wanna.
But maybe that was our mistake for taking a Tennessee player that I hate anyway. So, I mean, there's that.
I blame Golden.
Pete?
Well, you can follow me at mcaddell11 Twitter, and follow me every Tuesday night on Final Whistle.
All right. Man, I'm all over the network. Mondays, I'm with my boy Smoke, who is now in the chat for the opening kick. Y'all need to go check it out. He gave his top 5 safeties in Bama history last night. I know Lou definitely agrees with who he had number 1. It was actually a damn good show. He gives some really good points on why, who is where. I also make some counterpoints. Then I'm here with my boys, as always, Tuesday night, 8 Central. Final Whistle, Avengers cutting up. We went long tonight, so you're welcome. And then on Thursday nights, I'll be back 7:30, going hard in the paint, talking about Bama basketball. How will Bama rebound after the loss to Auburn going into Missouri? And that's how you find me, Pettey_Daniel on Twitter X. Luke.
Did I make that list? Top 5 safety?
Yeah. You were a cornerback, so no. Weren't you a corner?
No, I came in as a corner, man. Smoke was playing.
Smoke, did you move my boy Chris over to safety?
Smoke wasn't getting off that field, man.
Smoke wasn't coming out.
Was Smoke the real deal, Chris?
Yes, goodness. Smoke can run too.
So the name fit?
The name fit. Yeah, the name Smoke can run, man. Smoke was smart. He was a smart guy. He was a technician that was just smart and just knew what to do. He was like a greedy veteran.
Man, I don't ever get the take on Smoke. I get Smoke's takes on other people. I don't ever get people's takes on Smoke. This is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, Smoke was always in position, man. He was a what they call a KG veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Reggie Miles out there too, and Tony Dixon. Like, it was
he said Reggie was one of the best athletes he ever played with.
I enjoyed watching more than what I saw this year on the field.
Reggie was unreal. Like,
Reggie.
I remember one time he hit Marvin Brown boogie so hard, Marvin got ready to fight.
They were talking about that on the show the other night, and he said nobody got Boogie really good, but he got him a time or two, and it was
Reggie hit him so hard one time, Boogie was ready to fight. He balled his fist up and said, "Okay." Nobody wanted to tackle him the rest of the scrimmage.
Now, was Boogie, because that's the one Marvin said he wanted to hit every day. Now, Smoke said he would do it, but nobody wanted Boogie every time.
No, nobody wanted Boogie, man. No, heck no. Boogie was a hit every day. That's the one. Sorry, I know we're running long, and I don't say to get on this, but man, those are the stories you hear. Like, man, what could have been? It's like that, because you hear stories from you guys like he was just a freaking animal in practice, but you know, if you'd have caught that pass that fell off his fingertips in the game, I think his career would have taken another trajectory.
Good stuff. Pete Golden wasn't that bad, at least for Ole Miss. It wasn't. Man, people keep talking about Pete and Marvin and Smoke Scott, and y'all brought up Pete was a problem with Toa Toto. I've got a theory on Pete, and it kind of falls in with a lot of young coaches. Man, Saban loved Pete on the X's and O's, but he was very green as far as calling a live game. There is a difference in knowing being a Wonderlick on the board, and then when the fire is happening, calling the right calls. And I think Saban was, I think Bama in a weird spot, I know this don't happen, got kind of stuck with a learning on the job guy for a few years because Saban loved what he thought he was going to become so much. Because you look what Golden did with less talent at Ole Miss this year, and they have one of the top defenses in the country. Golden obviously knows his shit. I think he was just a rookie. I think he didn't know how to call defenses in the heat of the game. I still think he makes mistakes, but he was a wonder dick. Ole Miss is doing the same shit with Charlie Weiss Jr. right now. Kiffin thinks he's a genius because he's got a photographic memory, but in-game play calling lacks greatly. And I think that just comes with, sometimes it comes with coaching. That's why a lot of these coaches need to spend some time at smaller schools being offensive coordinators, being at every position, learning the actual nuances of the game, calling during a game. Because when you take some of these young Wonderlicks and put them on the field, or as Van calls them, Wonder Dicks, there's going to be some growing pains. I don't think Golden's as bad as everybody thought he was, but he might not be as great. Maybe that was just a one-year thing, and they bought him a good team, and he looked better. Who knows? Sorry, that was my rant on the shit that we're seeing in the – we're losing. All right. Who have not followed? Lou? Dan? Chris?
You
Well,
catch
follow
me.
me.
You can follow.
Go ahead, Lou.
You can find me on X at Rolu241, Facebook and Instagram, Luscion Graves. And on Tuesday nights exclusively, you can find me on the Final Whistle with the Avengers, chopping it up, everything, all things Alabama, specifically football. But we also cover Bama hoops. And as always, most importantly, roll daggum tide.
What's y'all want Gerald's Smokes want to come on for a second and talk about something. What's he talking about over there? Y'all, he's talking about the second. All right, hold on, Smoke. Y'all got a second? Y'all want Smoke come on for a minute, or y'all got to run?
Come on, Smoke.
Lou got to run. I got a little bit.
All right, I'm Smoke. Hold on one second. I'm about to send you a link.
Yeah, man. You can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr. On Instagram at final_whistle_Chris, and on Twitter at X at Coach Chris James.
You catch me on Twitter or X at the Final Whistle Dan. Catch me Tuesday nights right here with my Crimson Avengers, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. You catch me Wednesday nights on the very same network, the Crimson Dynasty, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central. We'll see you tomorrow night.
See you tomorrow night. I think Smoke may come on just for a second. He had a quick story. If y'all want to hold on.
Oh, Lord.
I know some guys that got to hop off. Luke, you got to go.
Chris James story.
No.
Yeah, I got to go.
All right, Lou.
All right, Lou.
All right, Luke.
All right, y'all.
Keep it in the road, bro. I'll hit you up, Lou.
All right.
All right, Lou. Don't give him a Chris James story, man. That's
no Chris James story. So you came in as a corner and they moved you because of Smoke. We'll give Smoke a few minutes to hop in. If not,
I came in as a corner, man, and we lost every safety on our roster just about. We lost Tony Dixon, Marcus Spence. We didn't have any safeties. So they asked me, hey, you willing to move to safety? I was like,
Chris was the slowest of the bunch.
Boy, you crazy. Mentally, yeah. But speed-wise, I can run with the best of them, baby. This one thing I can always do is run.
Here we go. Smoke, what is up, man?
Listen to me now.
But you coming in here late on this show, causing all kind of chaos in the last hour.
Hey, listen. I didn't mean to cause chaos. I really wanted to address Lou. He keeps on roasting a lot of guys on here, man. Which I think it's some of it is worthy. But Henry's an NFL starter. He's a starter in the NFL. There's only 32 Mike linebackers starting in the world, and he's one of them. So it's hard to say that he was the problem. He wasn't good at Alabama. If you're playing better in the NFL than you are in college, and somebody figured it out later on, and you didn't. One of the other things is always getting discredited is a lot of players leaving the state or not going to Alabama and leaving, and Bama not recruiting Alabama kids. But if you looked at Nick Saban's team, looked up and down their roster, they're recruited nationally. Those national championship teams weren't all Bama made and said they coming from the state. They came from all over. Mm-hmm. And what Courtney and that staff is trying to do is fix what Nick Saban and those guys left them. And what they left them wasn't really great, which is okay. If Nick had a great team, you think Nick would have walked away from it? Keep asking people that. Yeah, hey, Nick is intelligent. He left out on good terms, losing on the 1 yard line in the semifinals game. Gracefully bow out. But when he left, Kalen DeBoer and Courtney, those guys got to fix it. And I think they're doing their best trying to, and they got to figure it out. First thing they got to find out is who's starting at quarterback.
There's a lot of holes, man.
Yeah, they didn't leave him a great team that was loaded. No. This is probably, other than the 2000 and what was the worst team? It's probably the second or third worst team that Nick had down there in Tuscaloosa.
2007, his first year.
Yeah, when he beat Kirby, like you just go back and watch when they met up on the 50-yard line. The look that he gave him is like, you let me beat you with these guys? Just go look at the face. It's a smirk like, God, dog. Come on. So we can't. I'm one that always comes on and tells my truth, but I don't think it's always all bad. And another thing that I heard that I totally disagree, and I hope that I got it right. And I think that's a knock on Freddie Roach as a defensive line coach. Got to figure out that the players that he's coaching aren't the same guys that, when Bo and Chris Rump and those guys had him with the Paynes and the Allens. Like, those guys aren't there.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest misconceptions is you have to coach a position that you play. I think that's incorrect. I've coached D-line before. I've coached linebacker before. I can coach any position on the football field because when you're a coach, you're a teacher first. And when you're a teacher, you can teach any subject long as you know how to get the right curriculum and the right lesson and how to teach. And Bama's defensive line was not the problem. It might be the scheme. I don't think Nick Saban's scheme was the problem. So when you switch it and you go into a whole new different scheme, there's a lot of teaching that comes into it. So just want to jump on and just give you guys my little 2 cents. Because I saw my boy Chris was falling asleep, and I wanted to wake him back up.
Hey, thank you, dog. Because boy,
he recognized he's sitting at attention now. He's sitting at attention now.
Boy, I don't get a chance to see my boy, man.
Yeah,
Smoke,
would y'all have to keep him up
right all night
in DB meetings? Would y'all have to Chris be over there passing out?
You know better. Cheese would have had him.
No, I wasn't going to sleep no meeting.
Cheese would have had him standing up, and we would have been on his neck.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't that crazy. Cheese didn't play that Rat Pack.
We ain't play that. It was attention to detail, and you was up.
Hey, Smoke, you remember that time when Bart Ralston got the fight in the whole DB, the whole Rat Pack? He was slanging us off like left and right, man.
Hey, listen.
For 6'10".
So
yeah.
So everybody, every position group caught an L from the Rat Pack, and the Rat Pack was the secondary. And that we got called the Rat Pack because it was Coach Cheese, and we was like his little minions. And Coach Cheese had 3 whistles. The first whistle was like a long whistle, like tweet. The second one was like tweet, tweet. The third was like tweet, tweet, tweet. That meant stop. So when we heard the first one, we still going at it. Bop, 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 bop. Second one, we still going at it. When we heard that third one, we all abruptly stopped, like trained animals, and just went back to where we came from. Some guys went to the red field, some guys went to the white field, some other guys went to the blue field. But if there was ever a fight and it was a DB involved, I don't care what you're doing, you stop and you're there on the tap.
Yeah. With Cheese and the Rat Pack, baby.
See, and then I thought when it just like a year or two ago, a video surfaced of that happening in Colorado, and Dion getting pissed at guys saying, if your boys fight, y'all all be a fight. He's like, oh, he's training. I'm like, you people that were whining about that and bitching and carrying about Dion creating this atmosphere of gangster. I'm like, you haven't been around a damn football team at all.
It's called brotherhood.
Right.
It's called brotherhood. Like, listen, if I am in Timbuktu and I see Reggie, Chris, Kev, Train, and Tony in a fight, and I don't jump in and throw knuckles with them, yeah, I'm gonna get whooped. And that's just law. That's law of the Rat Pack. When one in, we all in.
That's the law of the Rat Pack, baby.
And we go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead, Smoke.
And we figure out who was at fault later on, but we're not asking questions.
Right,
in the middle of it. We just going pop, 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 pop. And at the end, like, damn, Chris, did he really have to do that? Like, nah, but it's over. Don't do that again.
So, if y'all were linebackers, I would have to ask who was the Mike Tyson of the Rat Pack. But since y'all DBs, who's the Floyd Mayweather or of the Rat Pack?
You know what? Matter of fact, I just got off the phone with 2-3, man. I just spoke to him for about an hour. Let me see who could. Okay, Marcus Spencer, Train.
Oh, yeah, Train was
that guy, right? Train was that dude. Like I've seen Train take out old linemen in real, like off the field.
Wow.
Yeah. Train was different.
He could throw one.
Yeah, Train had hands. Gary Barnes.
I heard that name so long.
GB, yeah, he up here in Nashville with me, man.
That name so long.
GB can get down. And I'm talking about like real knuckle game, strong. Let me see who I had to fight for a lot of times to defend. Oh, that daggone Herschel Boulder, man. I'll tell you what.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip. He's the type of dude that he'll argue with somebody, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "What's happening?" And he'll reach over and punch somebody, and then like disappear. I'm like, so I'm sitting there fighting, and I'm like, "Bro, you got to come back over here and do what you got to do too." But Cool Whip was the first one to reach over my shoulder. He was still on somebody.
The funniest time was we had a makeup game because of 9/11 with Southern Miss.
Yep.
So we had to play on a cold, rainy night in Birmingham.
Yeah, I hate the rain. I remember that game too. It sucked.
It was freezing, like we were all bundled up, like it was a torrential downpour.
Yeah,
after the Iron Bowl, so nobody gave a shit either.
Or worse.
You know what?
Because that's what made us bowl eligible.
Yeah, there you go. We had to win that game.
I ended
up blocking the kick. We had a pretty good game, blocking, kicking, a whole bunch of other stuff. Keep going, though.
You had a good game. And man, before the game, Reggie Mile fought Southern Miss pregame warm-up. Was it a DB smoke?
Listen, knowing Reggie, I don't know the hell Reggie was.
Before the game, dog, Reggie got in a fight, pregame fight. It was all wet. Man, we just trying to get up out of there, man. It's a Thursday night. We trying to get up out of here. It's cold before Thanksgiving. We were like, man, I don't even know why we out here on Thursday night, man. And Reggie got the fighting, man, before the game. And that kind of
Chris,
like, okay, it's a ball game now. We got something to play for now.
I just told my kids, I said, hey, man, here's your Uncle Reggie, the crazy one. If there's ever a fight, you call him. My son was like, so he's the one that you take off hit him with an elbow and a right punch, then another elbow. I said, yeah, that too. But with Reggie, brooms, pans, whatever, don't even worry about who started the fight. Most likely it's him.
Reggie was a fool.
Yeah, Reggie still is.
I had driving school with Reggie.
He was
driving school.
When you get in trouble from doing a dumb shit, they put you in driving school, so you don't have to pay the ticket. I was in there with Reggie.
He probably got that driving school from B-Side 5 Week. Smoke.
Reggie type of dude that'll race somebody backwards, man.
All right, last question. I'm gonna let y'all go. You mentioned something. Who was the meanest on that? Okay, y'all mentioned DBs. Who was the dude that didn't know?
Reese. You said Reese. That nobody wanted to do what?
Nobody. One dude on that team that nobody would F with.
Miguel Merrick, Mac 10.
Oh, nobody messed with Mac 10, but Mac 10 was a mean.
Mac 10. Miguel
Merrick. That's what I was looking for. Who was the meanest bastard on that team that nobody would
with? And then after Miguel left my freshman year, it had to be Smoke. I don't know, Smoke. Who was a mean Marvin? Marvin was playful, but nobody tried him. Marvin was real playful.
Mook?
Yeah, but nobody tried him though.
Man, listen, Marvin can't fight. Mac 10 was like the last of the dying breed of because at that point I was a sophomore after Mac left, so it was like, oh, it's no more like scary guy. I mean, I was the biggest dickhead on the field, like asshole. That was me. Yeah. Hey, how about listen? I got a quick story for you. How about this, bro? And I thought
like this better than anything we do.
Listen, and this is Chris. I don't know if you're gonna remember this. So we go up to Arkansas my senior year, and this was like I tell my kids all the time. This is when I thought I was like the worst teammate ever. And I apologize to you then, Chris, and I'm apologizing to you now. We playing against Arkansas. Roman was out that game because his aunt
got a DC sniper.
but his aunt was the first person to get killed by the DC sniper in Montgomery, Alabama.
Yep, he
Right.
robbed the store or something.
Right.
Oh, wow.
That's how when the DC sniper got caught, the fingerprints and everything was in that store down in Prattville, Alabama. That was Roman's aunt. So Roman wasn't playing. So Chris was in a dime unit. So we're playing against Matt Jones.
Matt Jones.
Matt Jones. So George Wilson runs a post, and there's like an under. So I passed the under in a post, and the post is coming. So I said, "Oh yeah, I can't get it because George is bodying me." So I see my man TA like right there. And I said, "Okay, I got Chris a pick. Here we go." I tipped it to pick. I tipped the ball to my man Chris. Chris, I say, Chris, here you go, dog. Bap.
I dropped it.
Bloop, bloop, bloom.
It hit me right. I wasn't ready for it, man.
I came back to the sideline. I said, "Hey, yo, Chris, Coach Thurman, don't put this dude back in the game, bro. Don't put him back in. He can't come back in and play with me ever again. I'm done with him." Man, they ain't put him back in here.
Hey, Wayne didn't want to come out no more.
Man, so Chris on the sideline,
They like the very next, like 2 series later, they ran the same route and Wayne picked it off. You remember that?
Yeah. So Chris on the sideline like this, pissed at me. So all game, I'm like, "What you pissed off at, bro? You're the one that." So I'm egging it on all game. So so the game's about to end. I sack Tavares Jackson. God bless my man. He passed a few years ago. Sack him. Ball comes out. Pick it up. Run up. Game's over. We go in the locker room. Shower up. Coming back. So you happen to be sitting in front of me on the ride back, and I'm like, man, I'm standing up like, man, this sorry tail dude, man, I had this dude to pick. He ain't even want to pick it. He shouldn't even come back on the plane with us. And I'm like, I'm crushing Chris, and Chris felt awful about himself. Chris turned around and said, "Smoke, I hate you. I wish this plane would crash and you're the only one that dies."
Oh, shit. See, so for all the fans out there that get mad at Smoke, you're just getting like 1/10 of full Smoke.
There you go.
Oh man, Smoke, you should know how to get on the folks' skin, boy. Hey, boy, they'll get in the locker room before. Remember that?
Y'all finna have a Auburn air episode.
Chris wanted that whole. He said, "I want this plane to go down right now. Everybody lives except
And your ass be number one. You go.
Everybody lives except me." I said, after that, I came on and said, "Chris, you know what, bro? You my little homie, man. I apologize. I shouldn't have went that far, but I said that was funny as hell."
Hey, the ball was in the air. All I think about was da-na-na, da-na-na.
And then dude dropped it.
Bloop, bloop, bloop. But hey, man, hey, listen.
I was going to take it back now. I would have got my hands on it. I was going to make a highlight now. I was going to take it back.
Listen, man, I appreciate y'all. Every time I used to come through the town, y'all always looked out for me on those recruiting trips, man. Big bro always ate good with you, man. Appreciate you.
Man, appreciate it.
Always love.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff, Smoke, man. Appreciate you coming on. For
Anytime, Chris, stop. Anytime I see you falling asleep, Chris, I'm popping on.
There you go. There you go.
You better get ready to come on about once a show.
Hey man, it looks like I'm sleeping, man. I just got low eyes, though. I just
nah. You need to get back in that gym. You need to get back in that gym and get right.
Smoke. You brought the energy back. Look, he got the energy now.
you know.
And listen, we are doing a show in T-Town this A-Day weekend. Even if I got to rent out a spot by myself, we gonna do one, bro. We gotta get the squad back together. It's 25 years.
Man, let's
Gotta
go.
do
Oh, dang, it sure is.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
I got Dante. I got Dante. I got the big fella behind me gonna pull up too. Marcel gonna pull up. I'm gonna get Sally down there too. We're gonna get the whole crew together. We're gonna go back to the old B-side 5 weekend.
Oh my God. That's all you gotta say. I'm calling my boss right now.
Fellas, be good, man.
Be good. Smoke, man. Man, Smoke, appreciate you. I'll see you on the flip side on our show. Catch me and Smoke on Mondays. As always, guys, it's been a great night. I know y'all loved and shared. We're going to get this thing out of here. Appreciate y'all sticking around.
Hey, Pettey, can I drop one more thing?
Yeah.
Marvin Constant and I are doing the top 5 linebackers of all time at Alabama. I got
Am I hosting this, or I want in on this? I want to hear what Marvin got to say, or y'all can do it. Y'all don't need me, but I do want to.
Hold on, Pettey. Is there a show without? Is there smoke without Pettey?
I don't know. I don't think it works that.
The Pettey smoke is a thing, but yeah, we're gonna drop that.
Pettey smoke. I like that name.
So it's coming tomorrow.
Top 5 linebackers. Holy crap, dude! Now we've done safeties and cornerbacks, and it's been tough. When we get to linebackers, ooh.
I mean, you got Derek Thompson,
DT, Cornelius,
Biscuit, Merlando McLean, Reggie Ragland, Hightower, Nico. Y'all sleeping on my boy Salim Rashid, Marvin Constant, Dwayne Rudd. The hardest hitting linebacker in Bama football history. Brooks Daniels. Second is Ralph Staten.
Yeah, Brooks, man.
Ralph
Brooks
Staten
trying to knock himself
that
out.
Man.
Dante Hightower. C.J. Mosley.
Cornelius Bennett, everybody, man.
Listen, Keith McCants. Y'all can't forget him.
Oh, Keith McCants. That's D'Amico. We ain't even mentioned D'Amico.
Hey.
Go, Matt.
Man, and then you got guys like Reggie Ragland and the new guy, Rashawn Evans.
Reggie Ragland was the man.
I mean,
So
lock in.
Lock in. So be on the lookout.
We putting the outside linebackers and inside linebackers together. We making it hard. If you split them up in seasons, we're gonna make it hard.
It's gonna that's gonna be a tough one. I'm ready for that debate because man.
And then we're gonna go to the D line. Y'all already know who my number one is.
Who?
Play with it.
Right there.
Right behind me.
That boy the truth.
He's right behind me. That's my number one. Y'all gotta figure out who the 4 are. That's
fans are already in the chat. We've already got fans fired up for this one.
That's one.
The defensive line's gonna be as tough as linebacker. That's I think two of the
that would definitely be number one.
One is behind me. Bama ain't never had nothing like that. The NFL has never seen nothing like that. He shut down practices in Buffalo. Shut them down. Crazy story. Real quick before we go. So this is 2019 or 18. This is when McDermott first get there and Selly didn't feel like doing nothing that day. Felt like doing absolutely nothing. So we're doing good on good. He's just messing around. So they're on his butt. I forget the D-line coach. The D-line coach say, "Hey, Smoke, that's how y'all Bama boys do, huh? Y'all just show up, get paid, and don't do nothing." So I called the big fellow up. I said, "Selly, let's have this conversation, bro." I said, they want to set this practice down. They said, "Smoke, you want me to shut it?" I said, "Shut it down." They messed around and started. They played that song just as we're having that conversation. Me, him, and Ragland just start bobbing like this. 5 plays in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Picked up the running back on the 5th one, turned around and dropped him.
Yeah.
That's Marcel when he felt like doing work.
Marcel was
he was different. Quentin Williams was good too now.
Jonathan Allen is the one but Darius, man, he was that. I remember Marcel. Look, he took over the Texas game. It wasn't. You go back and look at that game. It was the defense that won it, and Darius and that line that took it over.
Marcel Darius walked down Tyrod Taylor in practice.
Crazy, man.
So he's just one of those dudes that was just a freak, and when he wanted to freak, he freaked.
I've never scouted or evaluated another defensive lineman that looked and played like that.
I'm gonna tell you another that he was kind of a tweener, and that was Courtney Upshaw, man. That was another one.
Upshaw's on the outside linebacker list, bro. I'm telling you,
he's done.
That thing is filthy. Tim Williams, filthy.
Yeah.
Ryan Anderson, a problem. I'm telling you that.
Tim Williams, according to Siski, was the most unblockable human to ever walk into Alabama.
I agree with him. If he ever had his mind right, he could have been the first overall pick.
That's the one that made, I think, may be the biggest freak that when people say didn't reach what could have been was
underachiever list. And you know what, Pettey? I'm glad you gave me that. I'm gonna bring up the biggest and the best known unknown players in Bama history. The ones that we knew about the practice, Chris, that the world didn't see. I'm gonna tell you, my number one is Marvin Brown.
Well, that's because we talked about him earlier. He was talking about Reggie hitting him earlier. That's okay. Unknown list and underachieved. Okay.
Oh, Boogie is definitely on there.
Boogie's a better football player than LaRon McClain.
Yeah. Boogie was unreal, man. Boogie was like
LaRon was just more structured and had a mindset. Petty, I apologize that took so long.
Dude, no, we love it.
Oh, we love it, man. We're gonna do a top 5 roll towels. You know your boy on there.
Hey, Smoke, he just got to be on the list. He just want to be on somebody.
TA from TA.
Hey, we gonna combine the Highlands with it, or we just gonna do it separate?
All TA list. All TA list. All TA list.
Hey, Chris, how do you come up with that list? Like, what do you have? What's the qualifications for having top 5 lists?
Yeah, you don't want to know, man. That's for another conversation.
He can't tell.
For being kicked, for almost getting kicked out of the Rose Towers.
Oh, there you go, Rose Tower probation team.
Man, almost got kicked. Because you're the only dude in Bama football history that almost got kicked out of the dorm.
I was good, man.
You're good to yourself.
The hurricane party, man.
Chris walks around with a video camera and he's recording all the who's who of Bama players that day. You just see on this video. And it's about 5 minutes. Everybody's like, man, get this camera out of my face. Get this camera. And in 5 minutes in, there's one white dude, Evan Mathis, who's hammered. And about 5 minutes into this video, this one dude comes in, man, y'all park that line. Y'all all gonna get tickets. Y'all need to get out there and get your
smoke.
Smoke comes in, just laying the law on everybody in the video.
No, smoke, man.
Listen, at some point you got to put on your 5-star hat, man, and let the world know you're 5-star general. At some point.
That's right.
Hey, fellas, it's snowing in Nashville, and my wife is telling me I might have to suffer.
Look, Smoke, don't apologize. I think our fans loved it. I think the fans love the stories from you guys more than anything we do. So
I was spoiled, man.
So
this guy,
Naughton McKay Lozier, what happened to him? Naughton is doing outstanding. He's living. Last time I saw Naughton, he's in Canada. Chris, you know his oldest son was a hooper.
Naughton McKay.
Really?
Yeah. Chief. Absolutely. Kendall Moorhead on that list.
Kendall Moorhead was the dude.
This thing's gonna go crazy.
Dude, you've already got them excited. So we'll have the defensive tackle coming at you. We got the linebacker. Smoke. You apologize. You got everybody fired up. We got people ready to come back for more Bama standard in the offseason. So no apologies.
You get back to those lines with Jared Johnson, Kenny King, Moorhead, but them some D lines.
I told people, Smoke, that 0-2 defense can match up with any defense that been in Bama. That your senior defense. That can match up with any defense.
You know what? To be honest, that 99 defense and 0-2. All right, the only reason why I would say that 0-2 defense was as talented is if you look just purely in the secondary, like Charlie Pepper wasn't a starter. Mm-hmm. Roman Harper wasn't a starter. Mm-hmm. Anthony Madison wasn't a starter.
No.
Ramsey Robinson was on that team, and all those guys were backups. And all 4 of those guys played in the NFL. 3 to 4 of those guys got NFL rings. Well, Bino got rings too. With the Kansas City is the director of the player developments. But yeah, you had a baby D'Amico Ryans was a backup on that team.
Yeah. Freddie
Wortham was a backup. Freddie Roach was a backup. Antoine Odom was a backup.
Bear was a backup.
Bear's he's on that.
Childress.
Anthony Bryan is on that team of players that was very disappointing. That was some of the most freakish things I've ever seen a human being. Bear, you on that?
Pope didn't start on that team, and I thought that dude
Pope and Freddie rotated.
Pope and Freddie rotated, but Pope was a starter.
Okay.
Yeah, Pope, Freddie, and Miko.
Odom, dude. Mark Anderson couldn't sniff the field. Antoine Odom, Jared Johnson, Kendall Moorhead, Kenny King.
Yeah.
I'm saying
Ahmad Childress.
Ahmad Childress and Bear were the backup D tackles.
But the best player on that defense, physically gifted, Antoine Odom.
Odom. They had a BC.
Yeah.
Brooks Daniels. Keep in mind, Brooks Daniels now. And oh my God, man.
Antoine and Salim, I remember being different.
We had hurt.
And I'm gonna give y'all one more name of just a different athlete that I wish that I spent more time with him, and he actually would listen to me. Thurman Ward was good. Carlos Andrews was good, but a special athlete that I had him for about 6 months, then got taken away from me. My man Slick, Ray Hudson.
Man, look at here. They moved. He was at corner. He came in as a corner. They moved him to Ray. It was Ray in that class. It was Ray.
Ray in my class. Remember, Ray was
a horse collar tackle.
He had a chance to enroll to the next year, right? Yeah. He had a chance to enroll to the next year.
Yeah, because Slick couldn't get right. But hey, listen, my man ain't here. Homage to him, but different athletes.
Yeah, Ray was a horse collar tackle away from beating Oklahoma.
So y'all keep on calling him Ray. Let him know his name is Slick, man.
Slick. Okay, Slick Hudson. All right.
Hey, look.
And I gave him that nickname. I won't tell nobody why.
Shuntu Ray. I know, you know why. Yeah. Shuntu Ray.
Right, man, I gotta go, man. Y'all go.
Yeah, look, man.
Y'all.
I love reminiscing, man. I really do.
Next time, hey guys, we appreciate y'all. Roll Tide to the next time. Thank y'all for hanging around with the show. Smoke, thanks for showing up, brother. Guys, I'll see y'all on the flip side. We got to let these people out of here. Roll Tide. Give them one. Give up. Roll Tide, fellas.
Love you guys. Roll Tide.